It's an honor, really, to be here. Thank you so much for CIFOR, Francis, and Pablo and colleagues. I didn't know Rio Plus 20 was so fun, moving around and talking to different people. I'll be brief. We are in a very particular moment in Brazil regarding climate change, for sure, and forests particularly. When we mention forests to a non-specialist type of audience, for instance, here in Brazil, usually people tend to think about deforestation, the forest code, naturally. But even if you think about deforestation and the forest code, it's not everything bad news. There are some good news. Deforestation in this country has coming down from high levels of 7 or 8 years ago to the lowest level of deforestation in a combination of science and policy that we just reached this year today. Even when you think about the forest code, the regulatory command and control type of policy, there are some instruments that are making a difference as well. I was talking to colleagues of the Nature Conservancy recently. If you take the registry of farmers in what's called the cadastre of farmers, taking into consideration only 2 states of Brazil, Pará and Mato Grosso, we have already 60 million hectares of land under the register, which is a pretty sizable type of extension of land under some kind of best practices and management. But that means also that there is in Brazil, when we deal with forests, and a kind of a polarization, I would say. Some people looking only or mostly at the conservation side, some people looking at the use of forest, and so all those elements, deforestation, forest code, RED, that's very much into the minds of a lot of people here. I've been asked about RED all over Rio Plus 20 for the last days. Conservation, of course, ARPA is also another legacy that Brazil is showing how to work, try to combine policy plus the best science available to do a kind of a combination, land use plus conservation. I joined, as Francis just mentioned, I joined the Secretary for Climate Change of Brazil for 3 months ago. And to my surprise, when I joined the Ministry of Environment, I saw that we have 5 different entities within the ministry dealing with forest. Biodiversity and forest, the Forest Service, the local EPA, climate change. And we are not necessarily doing a great job on coordinating better within the ministry what should be done, what is the best policy in terms of forest conservation and land use. And under this role of being the climate change secretary for Brazil also gives me a great opportunity, because part of my mandate is I have to deal a lot with other ministries in Brasilia. So finance, industry, agriculture, science, technology, even chief of staff, they call us, tell me about deforestation, tell me how deforestation is related to emissions or climate change. But even there, as you might imagine, outside of the Ministry of Environment, there is also a lot of people dealing with some aspects of forests or forestry. And the clear message to me, being there for these 3 months, is that, well, clearly there is a lack of a better coordination regarding the idea of forests in this country. As mentioned, for the last 3 years, I've been working also on the other side, on the sustainable business side of the World Bank, or the private branch of the World Bank. And a big deal of my work there was to deal with a sustainable management forest in the Amazon. And there I had a great opportunity to see how and what the private sector really cares about, or the financial sector really cares about. So I learned things like forest-backed bonds for forest use and forest conservation, innovation, new forest products, how to innovate in terms of bringing the best technology available to do a better management of the forest in the field, how to implement new corporate governance, how to generate new business lines within a company, or how to go to a bank to get a particular specific credit line for forest use. So, but even there, again, I've been asked a lot of time by the private sector in the Amazon or Brazil, we need some kind of guidance, some better coordination, maybe coming from the financial side, the private side, but also from the policy side. And now that I'm in the policy side, we start to have a deep discussion within the Ministry of Environment on how to better improve our role, to be better doing policy making and decision making regarding forests. I believe that, I don't know the answer. We are about to deliver a white paper, a concept paper to the Ministry of Environment of Brazil on what a policy forest for Brazil should look like. What are the elements? What are the parts that must be in this document, in our thinking of moving a little bit beyond of this polarization, conservation versus forest use. I don't know what the answers, but maybe I believe should be a balance between some guidance principles, like what is the right balance between forest economics and forest conservation. We have to have a serious conversation about this in this country, no question about this. What is our role? What is the role of a Minister of Environment of a country like Brazil that still has a lot of forests to deal with? But at the same time, we have to deal with 22 million poor people in the Amazon, for instance. And what is the role of other ministries? What is the role of the finance sector? What is the role of science technology into this conversation? The Secretary for Strategic Studies that responds directly to the President of the Republic of Brazil, they are thinking about this already. So these guys should be along with us. What about decentralization? We are at the federal level. How should we be dealing and working and discussing, particularly in the Amazon, with all the states in the Amazon? Recently, we coordinate what is called the executive group of the Committee on Interministerial Committee for Climate Change of Brazil. It's under our responsibility, Minister of Environmental responsibility. And we committed a study by a not-for-profit in São Paulo that deals a lot with the private sector. And we asked them, there is a lot going on in climate change in Brazil. Actually, they're here in this room. And how to harmonize policies. We have 17, maybe 19 different state-level policies on climate change in Brazil. RED, financing, conservation, etc. And we at the federal level are trying to do better coordinate all of this. And maybe one of the most important things that you have to think seriously and concretely about all these issues in this country is what are the best mechanisms, financial mechanisms, that should be brought to the forest sector that we can have this, at least to start going through this track of a better balance between use and conservation risks, long-term risk for forest people. There's a lot of funding flowing in Brazil, but very little of these wants to take risks, long-term type of risk, to go to the Amazon forest, for instance. So this is our thinking we're having at this moment, and I wish that in the following month we'll come with some concrete ideas, and I really hope that CIFOR could somehow help us in this new endeavor. Thank you very much for this.